All right, now that my boxes are dry and we've distressed the edges, so I've got all my edges distressed on the box and the bottom, because I'm going to cover the bottom of the drawer. And again, I did not do the insides. You can do the insides. I have some little blending brushes that are skinny, and I sometimes will just rub down just those sides. I don't actually do the bottom, but you can actually, if you want to, distress inside the box. So my larger box is now distressed, and I did this, I just was watching TV last night once they were dry, and distressed all the edges. So those are now all distressed. What we're going to work on next is covering the outside of the box. We're going to start with the back corner edges, and again, I just guesstimate doing that. If you want to, you can take your ruler and just see that your box is 6.5 inches high, so you're going to need a 6.5 inch piece of packing tape. Just seems like a lot of extra measuring and stuff, but if you like to be precise, by all means go ahead and do some measuring and then just cut like that. Now for these two edges, because the box is a little bigger, I'm just going to use a whole piece of this packing tape instead of cutting it in half, just because I want to make sure that the edges get totally covered. So I'm going to cut my second piece like that. Move that out of the way, and then we're just going to fold this piece in half like this. And we're going to do I just do the edges a little bit on an angle. And then we're going to bring our box back in. And we are going to make sure that fits. And if it's a little too long, you don't want it to hang over the edges. So just trim it down so that it fits within your box there. So I'll do the same for the other side. We'll fold it in half. Cut my little corner piece like that. Make sure it fits within there. Like that. All right. And then I'm just going to set my box off to the side here, and I'm going to wet this piece. And sorry, I'm standing right in front of the window, so we're getting a bit of a shadow. So we're just going to wet this piece. And you want to make sure it's nice and wet. Don't just give it one little brush across and think, oh, that's good. It's got to have, you know, it's got to be wet. You got to activate that glue. Now this piece has these little pieces sticking up. I want to make sure that I get those and pull those in nice and tight. So I'm going to pull that down. And this just kind of pulls everything together and makes it all look the same. So once we get all this tape on the edges, it will distress these edges as well with the distress ink, and it will make everything look cohesive. So I'm just going to turn the box. Get this piece wet. Let me get my little piece off of here. It's very sticky and sticks to you. I end up finding pieces stuck to my sweater, my shoe. All right, so we're just going to wet this piece here. And we're going to set that on there, right on that fold. And then we're going to pull the edge down. And then I'll just give it a good press, like that. Piece moved. There we go. So I've got my two back corners done, and then I'm going to do my top edge and my bottom edge. And you can do this in 3 pieces. You can measure across the back and come around the edges and then do your sides, or you can do it all in one piece, which is probably what I'm going to do. And again, if you want to, you can measure, you know, that's 6.5, oops, wrong way. That's sorry, you know, that's 7 3/4, say, and this is 11 1/4. So you want to add all that up. That's 21 and then 28, so maybe 29 inches you need for a piece of tape. And then for this edge, you can fold it in half and just use that half a piece. So I'll measure one piece of say 29 inches. And I'll do this my way. The quick and easy way. 1, 2, 3. And then I just give myself a little bit extra. So we're going to fold this in half, and then we're going to use that half a piece all around the edge. So I've gone and cut this into 2 pieces. I've folded the tape and cut it into 2 pieces. And then I'm going to fold it again, and this is going to go around the top edge. So we're just going to fold this one in half. And I'm just folding it on where the little string is. It seemed to work very well. And then we're just going to lay that piece on there. I'm just going to turn the box this way so you can see better. And then again, I'm going to dry fit that corner and do a little pinch there. So I'm only going to have 2 corners that I have to trim. So I'm going to just cut that one. Keep sticking it in my water. And that one. So there's my first corner, dry fit. Flip it around. And then we'll dry fit our second corner. Like that. Cut it. Like that. And then move everything out of the way. And we will do our first small piece. I'll wet that. You want to make sure it's nice and wet. And you're going to place that on the box. Right on the fold. I can come down a smidge. There we go. Like that. And then I'm just going to set my box up like this. And wet that second piece. Like that. And I'll stand it up and line up that fold. And again, I'm going to run my finger around the corner and then across. And then you're going to fold that piece down. And then the last piece. And I know I have to cut this little end off. And I've done that. So you go around your corner and just push that guy down and then fold your piece over. Like that. And don't worry about it if you're not right to the edge. I've got 1/8 of an inch there. I'm going to be doing this front piece as well. I'm going to be doing a little piece across here, so it will cover that little corner there that I've missed. So there you go. There's your top piece. I'm going to flip the box over, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to the bottom piece. Fold this in half. And do some dry fitting. First, oops, I forgot I have that little piece stuck on there. Like that. And we're going to turn it. There's my dry fit. Bend it around the corner. Do your second dry fit there. There we go. Oops, let go. And I'm just going to move my scissors out of the way. Let that first piece. And we are going to attach that onto there. Now this is going to take, you need a, if you want to make the box in one day, it's probably going to take you a good day to do it. So I've kind of spread it out over maybe 2 days. I'll work on it. Like this video is taking me a couple of days because I have other things on the go. So you can get it done in a day if you keep at it. But it is going to take a while because you do want the tape to dry in between distressing. And so I will do the drawers one day. I'll do all the box, doing this type of thing for the box in one day. And then working on covering it with the paper or the collage or whatever you're going to cover the box in, that will be another day. So, but if you want to do it all in one weekend and get it all done, you can, or one day. There we go. So the box now has tape on the corners first, then the top and bottom, and now we're going to work on doing the fronts of this. And I would normally start on doing this little piece here, and then I would probably do the tops and this and then the sides. So we'll do this little piece and then this piece and this piece. So what I normally will do is just cut a big long strip of this off and just start working with that. So we know we need a piece that big for the fronts and top. So again, we're going to fold this in half, and we'll have one piece for that, one piece for that. So we've got that piece. We know we need another one of those for the centerpiece, and we're only going to be using half. So then I can use the other half of this to do one of the sides or this little piece. And then I'm just going to cut. So again, I'm just kind of roughly guesstimating my sizes for so this piece will be for the two sides, and again I'm going to cut this in half. So I will start with maybe one of the longer sides, and I will fold this in half and cut. I'm going to fold these all in half and make my strips. So I have what I call the 1-inch strips. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that, and then we'll come back and start gluing these on. Okay, so I've got all my pieces cut in half, and I've gone ahead and folded them. And I'm going to start with the longer piece, and we'll do the easy one first, the one up at the top here. So I just have to cut this one a tiny bit. So it's just going to slide right in there and fold on there. So simple, quick and easy for that one. I say that and I watch something will go wrong. I'm just going to wet my brush and wet this piece of paper. Make sure it's nice and wet. Okay, my paintbrush. Dry off my top. And then I'm going to put this right on that fold. And you're going to push down. And I'm going to go from the center out from one side and the center out from the other side. So there's my top piece covered. The middle piece, I'm just going to trim it up a bit so that it fits within the I'm just going to fit that inside. Perfect. So I'm going to dry fit it. You're going to set it on the little edge and have this piece folded over so it's going like a little L shape, and it's resting on top of that top of the chipboard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut an angle in toward that corner. So we're doing our V again, but we're not removing it. We're just cutting a little tiny piece here like that, and we're going to wet this piece now. And you're going to leave that piece attached. Oops, I'm stuck. And your paintbrush will get a little sticky because the water does get sticky from dipping it in the glue in there. So it might be good to change your water every now and then. Oops. So now we're going to lay this inside right on that fold line. Oops. And again, you want to go from the center out and brush it across. I'm just running my finger along that top piece first. Then you're going to fold it over and run your finger along the edge of the chipboard to hold the paper down. Like that. And then you're going to push the paper over the edge of the chipboard. Like that. And you really want to make sure those edges are down. Give it a good squeeze and rub it all down, make sure it's all there. And then you're going to have this little V part, and all you're going to do is push it onto there and push down your little flaps to the other side. Like that. Okay, so we've got our top, we've got our center, and we're going to do the exact same thing to the bottom one. We're going to make sure it fits. We're going to dry fit it, so I need to cut a little bit off the end. And you're dry fitting it. There we go. And I'm just going to turn it around so we can see it better. This way, making sure we're still in the camera. Okay, same thing. I'm dry fitting it. I'm holding it there, and I'm going to do my little V cuts like that. We're going to wet this. Put back into the camera. Oops, let me just wipe this off here. Okay, so we're going to dry fit that right along our little fold. Make sure it fits within. Fold it over. Rub from the center out, and then fold your pieces over. Really give them a good rub to make sure they're fitting, and then this little piece again, we're just going to push it on and down the little flaps down the side. So there are our, I'm just going to dry this off, make sure I don't have any wet spots. Okay, so we have our top, our middle, and our bottom of our drawer covered. And then we're going to do this little tiny piece. I've got this leftover long piece. We're going to do a little tiny piece right here. Out. So I just need a piece that will fit inside there. And that will go on that piece like there. So I'm just going to wet this. And I'm going to set this piece on the fold and push it down. So that little piece is now covered. So I have a little piece left over from that last long strip because we had 4 long strips, and I've used a piece of it to do this one. Now we're going to do the sides, and the same thing. We're going to do a dry fit to make sure it goes inside the box, and it just needs to be cut a little bit. I'm wondering if we should make these a little bit longer so I can go over the edge. I think I might do that. I might do like a little corner. So I'm going to use another piece this length. I'm just going to cut that. And we will actually dry fit it, and we'll make a little corner edge. I think that might be better to cover up these little corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the box this way, and I'm just going to eyeball it and bend that, and I'm just going to, I think with this one I'm going to cut it once it's on there. Let's try that just to make sure we get it even. Okay, so this is about 1 inch longer than our sides, and I'm just going to turn it this way. So I'm putting this on the outside first, Now this is going to be a little thicker because we've got those inside chipboard pieces. So I've got about 3/4 of an inch on either side sticking out, some little wings, right? So when I bend this around the corner like that, and you want to make sure it's nice and tight, and bend it around the corner, you're going to take your scissors and just do a little snip down there, like that. And then we're going to bend this piece down, right? I'm just going to snip a little bit more off of this corner here. So you're going to pull that piece down and just, I do the corners first, and then we're going to do our little V cuts like this. And just pull that paper down nice and tight. And it's going to be a little thicker, again, because we've got our chipboard, and then I'm just going to push those little flaps down. And then this piece will go over. And again, you may want to cut a little, this like a little V. Cut a little piece out of that corner. You just want them to fit so you don't have any big gaps in the corners. Like that. I don't think I wet my little V part enough. And again, I'm just going to cut a little V out of that corner. And I'm going to take my cloth and just give everything a nice push down right in those corners. And that's the other side. So let's get this last corner done, and then we're going to let the box dry, and we will do our distressing of the edges, and then we're going to start working on covering the box and the drawers with some scrapbooking paper. So let's just do this last piece here, and save any of your scraps that are fairly large for these pieces because you can use them in another project. Like this little tiny piece that I only had to cut a little piece. Sometimes I'll have scraps left over and I'll go ahead and just use those. So I'm just going to wet my paper. Set my piece right on the outside, like that. Bend it around the edge. Cut your little piece here. You cut like a tiny little V. There we go. And this one. There we go. Cut that out. These pieces stick to you. It's like static cling. Okay, so now we're going to bend that big piece down, and we're going to cut our little V's here, right, and there, and push your sides in. And then you do your little flap, and then bend your corners around. And that, I'm just going to cut this one a little bit more. Like that. And then you get your cloth and just give everything a really good squeeze. And that is the front edge of your box now covered. So it will match when you put your drawers in. And you're going to cover these all with paper, and this will all be distressed, so it will kind of blend in with the edges of your box. And these will all be distressed, and then we're going to add our paper on. What we have to do is, once we distress the box, once I get my box dries and I distress the edges of my box, let me spit these out. We're going to cover the box first with paper. Then we'll do our drawer fronts only, because you're going to add your handles on, and you want to be able to have the brads on the inside before you cover the inside of your box, and then we'll do the sides of the boxes last. So we're going to let this dry. I'll go ahead and distress the edges, and then we'll start working on the scrapbooking paper.